I'm gonna take you back to a place I never thought I'd revisit, a place buried so deep in my chest I used to think breathing around it was enough to keep it quiet. But stories have a way of clawing up your throat when the truth decides it's done hiding. And trust me, this one never stayed buried for long. I grew up in a small town outside Madison, Wisconsin, the kind with just one stoplight, a football stadium we were way too proud of, and a main street that still looked like it got stuck in the 1980s. And in that little slice of America, there were two names folks always said together like they were glued: Emily Carson and Jake Lawson. Yeah, that was us, the golden pair, high school sweethearts. That couple teachers joked would probably send them a wedding invite one day. The kids who carved their initials into the back booth at Ollie's Diner. The ones who slow danced under the stadium bleachers after everyone else had cleared out on Friday nights. Back then, life was simple. I was just a girl with big dreams and a heart too soft for my own good. Jake was the star quarterback with the kind of messy blonde hair that never stayed put, and eyes that always looked like he was thinking about something more. Every girl wanted him, but he wanted me, or at least that's what I thought. He used to say, "Em, I swear I'm gonna marry you someday, just you watch." And I'd laugh, push his shoulder, pretend he was being dramatic. But deep inside, I believed him, every word. We were 17, too young to understand forever, too old to pretend it didn't matter. I still remember the warm Wisconsin night when everything felt perfect for the last time. We were lying in the back of his rust-red Ford Ranger, parked on this old hill that overlooked the town. You could hear distant crickets, smell the sweet clover, and feel the whole world humming like it was ours. He wrapped his hoodie around me because the wind had picked up, and he kissed my forehead like he was sealing something. Then he got quiet, really quiet. "Em, I need to tell you something." I remember my stomach tightening. But he didn't say anything bad, not then. Just talked about dreams, college, wanting to be more than some washed-out hometown guy who used to throw a football. I held his hands and told him I'd be there, whatever path he took. I didn't know that was the last real conversation we'd have before everything shattered, because 2 weeks after graduation, he vanished. No goodbye, no explanation. No text, no call, no note on my window like he always left. Nothing, just gone, like someone ripped him straight out of Madison County and dropped him off the edge of the damn earth. At first, everyone figured he was stressed or needed space before college, but days turned to weeks. Weeks turned into months, and then the rumors started. He ran off. He found someone else. He couldn't handle the pressure. He was never coming back. And no matter how many times I tried to ignore it, it hurt. God, it hurt like hell. I tried calling, messaging, reaching out to his family. His mom always said, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, I just don't know." But the silence didn't break, and then I found out I was pregnant. Yeah. 17, heartbroken, terrified, and completely alone. I remember staring at that test in my small bathroom, the one with the cracked mirror and pale yellow lights, feeling like the air had been punched out of my lungs. My hands shook so hard I had to grip the counter to stay upright. I whispered, "Jake, what am I supposed to do?" But he wasn't there. He hadn't been there for months. I told my parents. My mom cried. My dad paced the kitchen like he was ready to track Jake down himself. But after the storm settled, they supported me, said they'd help and we'd figure it out. And I did. I raised that baby boy, my boy, with everything I had. His name was Noah, and God, he was perfect. He had Jake's messy blonde hair and my wide eyes. He'd scrunch his nose when he laughed, kick his legs when he got excited, and fall asleep on my chest like he'd always belonged there. I worked double shifts at Murphy's Grocery, took online community college classes late at night, and saved every dollar like I was trying to build him a world from scratch. And for 12 years, I did it. 12 years without Jake. 12 years of birthdays, scraped knees, school plays, late-night fevers, bedtime stories, and football practices. Every time someone asked who his father was, I just said, "He's not in the picture." And that was enough. But here's the part I never say out loud. Not once, not a single damn time did Jake ever show up. No message, no apology, no explanation. He was a ghost, and I learned how to live with ghosts. Until the day everything changed. The day I wish I could erase, yet never forget. Noah was 12, just tall enough to start stealing my sweatshirts and pretending he didn't need a helmet for his bike even though I insisted. He loved football more than anything, just like Jake did, wanted to try out for the youth league, said he was gonna be better than any kid in our county. That morning was warm. One of those late August days where the sun hits the pavement so hard you can hear it crackle. Noah threw on his blue jersey and shouted from the hallway, "Mom, 5 minutes." Coach hates when I'm late. He had no idea I'd give anything for 5 more minutes with him. We got in the car, we buckled our seat belts. I remember hearing a song he loved playing on the radio. Some upbeat pop track he'd hum off key. We were driving on County Road P, the one lined with tall cornfields and wooden mailboxes leaning from too many Wisconsin winters. It was quiet, peaceful, and then a truck, a red semi. Out of nowhere, I saw it veer. I saw it cross the yellow line. I saw the world narrow into one blinding, impossible moment. The sound, metal collapsing, glass exploding, my baby screaming, and then darkness. Heavy, suffocating darkness. I woke up 3 days later. Hospital room, needles, machines beeping in slow, cruel rhythm. My mom was there, her hands shaking as she held mine. And the moment I opened my eyes, the moment she saw I was awake, her face, it fell apart. But I already knew. I felt it in my bones, in the empty space beside me, in the silence that swallowed the room. Noah was gone, my boy. My whole world, gone. The next few days were a blur, funeral planning, relatives I hadn't seen in years showing up with casseroles, people hugging me too tight, saying things like God needed another angel, like that would fix anything. I remember walking into the funeral home on the morning of Noah's service, my legs barely holding me up. The place smelled like old wood polish and fake lilies, the kind that makes your stomach tighten, and that's when it happened. That's when everything shifted. I heard the door creak open behind me, slow, hesitant, like someone was entering a place they didn't think they belonged. I didn't want to turn around. I didn't want to deal with anyone else. But there was this strange pull, a familiar ripple in the air, and when I finally looked, my heart nearly stopped. It was him, standing there like some ghost dragged out of the past. Jake Lawson, 12 years older, 12 years vanished. 12 years of silence carved into the lines on his face, and he whispered, "Emily, oh God, Emily." My knees trembled, my chest tightened. I grabbed the back of a wooden pew because I swear I thought I might pass out. He looked at Noah's framed photo, and I heard his breath actually break. Then he whispered again, barely a sound, "Is he ours?" The world went silent, heavy, unbearable. Because that was the moment I realized something I never expected. Jake didn't know. He had no idea about me, about Noah, about any of it. And for the first time in 12 years, I had to face the boy who broke me and the man who never came back on the same day I buried our son. He stood there like someone who just had the ground ripped out from under him, and for a second, I couldn't breathe. It was like every memory I'd locked away, every wound I thought had scabbed over, suddenly tore open all at once. I stepped back. I needed space. I needed air. I needed anything but him standing there with that face, that same damn face I once trusted more than anyone in the world. "Emily," he whispered again, voice cracking like he hadn't used it in years. I raised a hand. "Don't, not today." But he didn't move, didn't blink. He just stared at the photo of Noah, our boy, smiling in his football jersey like he had 1,000 more days ahead of him. He reached for the frame, but I moved faster, placing my hand on it first. "You don't get to touch that," I said, my voice steady even though my insides were shaking. Jake swallowed hard, eyes glassy. "I didn't know." "I swear to you, Em, I didn't know." It felt like someone punched the air out of me, because I knew he wasn't lying. His eyes, those stupid blue eyes I used to get lost in, they were filled with something raw, something haunted. But the thing about trauma is, truth doesn't heal you in the moment. Pain still burns, and grief still crushes. I turned away. "I can't do this here, not today." He nodded slowly, like he understood, even though he couldn't. Not yet. The service started. People filled the room. Soft piano music drifted through speakers. Someone placed a hand on my shoulder, offered a tissue, whispered a prayer, but all I could feel was him, standing in the back, silent, broken, watching a life he never got to meet. When the pastor began speaking, I stepped up to give my eulogy, something I'd written at 3 in the morning while staring at Noah's empty bed. My voice shook, my hands trembled, but I made it through. And every time I glanced up, Jake was crying, not soft tears, real, chest-crushing grief, the kind that made people turn to see who he was. After the burial, after the condolences and the hugs and the feeling like I was just floating through a nightmare, people started to leave. Cars pulled away, crowds thinned, the sun dipped low behind the trees, and that's when I heard footsteps crunching on gravel behind me. Slow, heavy, familiar. I didn't turn, I couldn't, not yet. He stood beside me anyway, his voice soft. "Em, please, I need to talk to you." I kept my eyes on the fresh mound of earth. "Jake, you don't get to come back 12 years later and act like we're picking up a conversation we never finished." He nodded. "You're right," he took a shaky breath. "But I need you to know why." I didn't answer. He talked anyway. "I didn't leave you," he said. "I didn't walk away from us." My chest tightened. "Then where the hell were you?" He closed his eyes like saying it hurt. "My dad," his voice broke. "He wasn't who you thought he was." I finally looked at him. His face was pale, haunted. Something in his expression made my stomach twist. "When we were 17, he said, I got accepted to Iowa State. You remember that?" I nodded stiffly. "And the night I was supposed to tell you, my dad found the acceptance letter." He swallowed. He lost it. Started screaming about how I wasn't going anywhere, how football was a phase, how I needed to stay home and work at his garage. I frowned. I'd met his dad, quiet guy, stern but never violent. Jake shook his head. "You never saw the real him." He kept talking, his voice shaking like he was reliving every second. "He took my phone, took my keys, took everything. He said I wasn't seeing you anymore, said you were a distraction. Said if I tried to leave, he'd..." Jake stopped, looked away. "Let's just say he made threats I believed." I felt my heart slow. "Jake, he kept me home, put me to work full-time, watched me like a damn prison guard. I tried to find ways to reach you, to go to you, but he'd always catch me." He wiped his face. "I wasn't allowed to have a phone again until I was 19. I stared at him, shock pulsing under my skin. "But college? Where were you? Why didn't you come back when you turned 18? Jake exhaled shakily. "Because the night I finally tried to run, he caught me, and it got bad, really bad." He pulled down the collar of his shirt, revealing a long, pale scar across his shoulder. My breath caught. "He threw me into the concrete shed wall," Jake whispered. "I was in the hospital for months, physical therapy after. They moved me to live with my aunt in Minnesota until things settled." The world felt like it tilted. I pressed my hand to my forehead. This wasn't the story I rehearsed in my mind 1,000 times. This wasn't abandonment, this was captivity. "And when I finally came back," he whispered, "you were already gone from town. Your parents had moved, no one knew where you were." I swallowed hard. "I was pregnant, Jake, with your son." He closed his eyes like the words cut straight through him. "God, Em, I should have been there. I should have been with you, with him. He should have known me." I looked at him, really looked, and for the first time since he walked through that funeral home door, I saw the boy I loved buried inside the man he'd become. A man who had been bruised by life in ways I never imagined, but pain doesn't rewrite history, and grief doesn't get erased. "You weren't there," I whisper. "I raised him alone, I watched him grow, I watched him laugh. I watched him play football, he was everything good, Jake, everything." Jake sobbed, shoulders shaking. "I wanted to know him, I wanted to be a dad, I would have loved him more than anything. God, Em, I would have loved him." For a long moment, we stood in silence, wind moving through the cemetery trees, two people broken by time and fate, grieving a life that should have been ours. "He asked about you sometimes," I finally said. Not directly, not by name, but he would look at other kids' dads at football practice and ask why some people didn't have one. Jake's face crumbled. I told him some dads just can't be there. "And it doesn't mean they don't love you, it means life got in the way." He covered his face with both hands, letting out a sound that ripped straight through me. After a moment, he steadied himself, his voice lower. Emily, let me be here now, not for forgiveness, not for us, just let me help carry this. Let me grieve him with you. I didn't know how to respond. My heart was bruised from 12 years of pain. My soul was raw from losing Noah, but grief hits differently when someone else holds a piece of it too, so I nodded just once, and Jake exhaled like the world had loosened its grip on his throat. We stood there for a long, quiet stretch of time, two shadows against a fresh grave, watching the sky bleed into orange and purple. And for the first time since the accident, I didn't feel completely alone. Over the next few days, Jake stayed in town. He didn't push, didn't force conversations, didn't try to earn something he didn't deserve. He just helped, showed up, sat with my parents, brought meals, cleaned the house when I couldn't get out of bed. One night, we sat on my old porch swing, the same one he used to push with his foot when we were kids, pretending it was a boat drifting across some imaginary sea. He looked at me. I know I missed everything, and I know I can't fix that, but if you'll let me, I want to honor him however you want, whatever you need. I wiped a tear from my cheek. He wanted to play football at Madison Middle. He talked about it all the time. Jake smiled softly. Then we'll start there. We created a scholarship fund in Noah's name for kids who wanted to play but couldn't afford gear, something small, something meaningful. And at the first fundraiser, when they unveiled the plaque with Noah's picture, I felt something shift inside me, something wounded but healing. Jake stood beside me, not as the boy who left or the ghost who haunted the edges of my life, but as the man who came back to face the wreckage with me. Later, under the warm glow of string lights, he whispered, "Emily, I'm not asking for a second chance. I'm just asking for whatever you can give." I looked at him, this man shaped by hardship, remorse, and love he never got to give, and I felt my heart soften. Not because I forgot the pain, not because I forgave everything, but because grief changes you, loss changes you, and healing doesn't always look like letting go. Sometimes it looks like letting someone in, so I took his hand. Not tightly, not like before, but gently, like a beginning we never got the first time. Jake exhaled. "I miss him. I do too," I whispered, "every day." We stood there, holding the weight of the world together. And maybe that's the strange, bittersweet truth of life. Sometimes love doesn't come back the way you expect. Sometimes it returns bruised, battered, and too late to save the things you wanted most. But sometimes, even then, it still finds a way to matter. As the night breeze carried the sound of laughter and clinking glasses around us, I closed my eyes and felt a quiet peace settle over the cracks in my chest. We couldn't give Noah the life he deserved. We couldn't rewrite the past, but together we could carry his memory forward, brick by brick, light by light, and maybe, just maybe, that was enough.